So welcome to our YouTube channel, My Info Retirement. And if you have kids or grandkids, you must have had many questions relating to their college education. You know, what's needed, what if they're undecided, how they max out their FAFSA, what are 529 plans, and the list goes on and on. So my name is Daniela. I'm one of the co-founders of My Infinite Retirement, and I'm super excited to introduce you to our guest speaker here today. So joining us is Debbie Goldstein, who has been an independent educational consultant for many years, and she's going to talk about some of the most important aspects of college planning and give you some insights that you certainly didn't know. And also make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to be notified when we upload new videos. And let's get started. And before I get started, actually, I'm going to give her her proper introduction. All right, so Debbie is a native of Los Angeles, a graduate of UCLA with a degree in business economics, and Debbie spent 20 years in the financial industry. And she's also the proud mother of two daughters, whom she raised all by herself since her husband passed away in 1993. And her older daughter, Amanda, has a doctorate from Stanford, and her younger daughter, Jamie, is a graduate of USC. And for the past 10 years, Savvy College Funding Solutions has helped guide hundreds of families through the confusing and frustrating college admission and financial aid process we all know about. And in 2020, Debbie saved her clients almost $750,000. So welcome, Debbie. We're so glad and blessed to have you here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So let's actually get right into it. And our first kind of big topic we're going to talk about today is admissions. Okay. And so my first question is, what is needed for a college degree, for the entry? What are the requirements?
If you're applying to a Cal State, you have requirements of a minimum of a 3.0, and then there are requirements as to how many years of English, math, science, visual or performing arts, and language. If you're applying to a UC, then you must have 4 years of English, 3 years of history, 2 years of history, 3 years of math, a year of performing or visual arts, and probably a minimum of a 3.4 GPA.
Got it. And so how is that different for the requirements for like a local college entry program?
So if you're going to a community college, if that's what you mean by a local college, a community college?
Yes.
So community college, anyone can get into community college. So you have gotten your GED or you have graduated from high school and you have your high school diploma. And a community college is really a great idea for many kids. Perhaps you have a child that doesn't know what they want to do, what they want to major in. And so as they go on their journey of self-discovery, they can do it at community college for a fraction of the price of a four-year college.
Got it. And so what would you say is the difference, since you mentioned, it's a fraction of, a regular non-community college. So what would you say is like the price difference?
A community college, if you're an in-state resident, should run you maybe $1,000 a year. If you're applying to a Cal State, depending on the location of the Cal State, it'll run between $25,000 and $27,000 a year. The difference is not the tuition, it's the cost of the housing. And if you're going to a UC, it'll cost somewhere between $35,000 and $37,000 a year. These are all for in-state residents of California. Out of state, you want to go to UC, it's about $68,000 a year.
Whoa, different story. And what would you say from, obviously you have, you very well versed with all the different colleges. So what would you say are like the top three, the most expensive colleges out there in the United States?
Oh, wow. Well, the ones in New York tend to be more expensive because of the housing costs. The housing costs can run $19,000, $20,000 plus. So it's not just the tuition, it's the housing costs. And then the private elite liberal arts colleges, those are all running between $75,000 and $80,000 a year. And some of the bigger colleges too, like Syracuse, in our own backyard, Chapman and LMU, those are all over $75,000 a year.
Wow, that is a big price tag. And then times four.
Times four, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And then, so is it ACT or SAT, is that still needed or is that a thing of the past? And which one would be better?
That's a great question. Test optional has done some wonderful things, and I hope it stays. So an SAT or an ACT used to be a barometer that the colleges used to determine your ability to go to their college and graduate in 4 years. However, studies have shown that actually it is your unweighted GPA that is a better indicator of your ability to be successful in a four-year college. The SAT and ACT were also used as part of eligibility requirements in merit-based aid, meaning this was the money the school was going to give the student based on their academic profile. So eligibility requirements up until last year were your unweighted GPA and your SAT or ACT score. Now, without those, a focus and concentration is going to be put on AP classes. How many AP classes does your school offer? How many did you take advantage of? And what did you score on those AP tests? Most schools will remain test optional through 2024. The UC schools will be test blind, which means you do not even submit it until 2025.
Wow, that was a great insight. Thank you for sharing that with us. And so now, what about if your kids are undecided? What should a parent or a parent basically, what should a parent do if the kids are undecided? What would be your recommendation?
Well, I think a great place to start is to have a family discussion and talk about your budget for college, because you certainly don't want to spend time doing all this work and applying to a college and getting accepted just for your parents to turn around and say, God, I'm sorry, we can't afford it. So having a family discussion about your budget will really be the foundation of which colleges you should look at and which colleges you should apply to.
Got it. And then so how do you find out as a parent what's the best fit for your college? You know, besides from the obviously the financial aspect. What are some things you want to look at as a parent?
So as a parent, I would start with geography. There are some families, they do not want their child to be, in any other state. There are some parents that don't want their child to be in any other city. When I'm working with my kids, I ask them, do you want to be close enough so you can drop off your laundry every weekend? Or do you want to be far enough away that you have some semblance of independence, but if you need to get home, you can get home in a couple hours? So for a student, geographical, social, cultural, academic, and if they are undecided and they don't know what they want to major in, going to a large college that offers 100, 200 majors is probably a better idea than going to a small specialized college. But
Definitely.
those are the things I would take into consideration when I'm creating a balanced list of colleges. Start with how much we can afford, how far or how close we're going to be, and also the student's academic profile. If the student is a 3.2 student, we're not sending him to UPenn or University of Chicago or University of Michigan. We want to make sure that academically it's also a good fit for the student so they can be successful in college.
Exactly. Wow, that's great advice. So thank you so much for that. And then my last question here would be, why should anyone hire a college counselor versus, a person like you who specializes, obviously in much more things and aspects of college planning? What would be your advice on that?
That also is a great question. If you go to a public high school here in Los Angeles, the average guidance counselor has about 400 plus students they're responsible for.
Wow.
And it's very difficult to get the time and attention when you are, spread that thin. Even the private high schools that I work with, those counselors have less students, but they might not have the time or they might not have the expertise. So there's the difference. That's one difference. Another difference is when I work with my students, I really get to know them. I really get to understand who they are, what they stand for, what's meaningful to them, what are their values. And that way I can translate that into the most awesome writing in the essays and supplements. Counselors that are handling 400 plus kids, they don't get that. It's a luxury. And so to work with a guidance counselor at school is important. It's very important that the guidance counselor knows who you are because they will be sending in a letter of recommendation.
Mhm.
And if you're in a private school, I've had the privilege of working with a number of college counselors in private schools and work very well together as a team for the student.
Right.
So student's name, we're the team, and we work together to make sure they have the right credits and all of the other things they need from high school to get into the particular college that they want to apply to.
Wow, yeah, so huge difference. Definitely.
Big difference.
Yeah, and you have been doing this for a long time, so you are definitely a pro and the expert that we always recommend. If anybody has any questions about college and what's the best colleges to go to and all those other things. That was such great information. Thank you again, Debbie. Debbie is a true expert when it comes to college funding and planning and has helped hundreds of families over the years. And so we hope that now you have a better understanding of what are the requirements for college and also what are the different types of colleges and what's the best college for your child. And the best part, we're not done yet with our interview with Debbie. So we will talk more about what is financial aid and FAFSA. And also in another episode, we will cover 529 plans and maybe there's some alternatives to that. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell to be notified when we upload new videos, share this with your friends and family. And if you're curious about how you can actually create your own infinite retirement plan, don't forget to watch our masterclass. The link is right below. And always remember, knowledge is power, but now you have to apply it. So thanks for watching and we will see you next time.